Hi everyone, this is Fletcher at Apollo Mapping, and today I'm going to show you another case study involving data that is publicly available from the city of Boulder, which is the town in Colorado in which we're headquartered actually. A brief background here before I dive in. In 2013, Boulder experienced one of the worst floods in Colorado history. That flood certainly affected other towns, not just Boulder, across the Front Range throughout Colorado, but particularly hard in Boulder, to the point where Colorado declared a state of emergency, and countless homes and structures were destroyed. It actually completely restructured or reshaped rather some of the canyons and terrain in general in the surrounding area. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how you could actually look at the true extent of that flood using Map Mavin. So that flood has since obviously passed several years ago, and it's been what, 3 years, and that data has since been made available. Both data about the flood's extent as well as changes in where roads or trails used to be and where they are now and which ones haven't been fixed. But in our case today, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a map that I created simply called 2013 Boulder Flood. And this map will show you just how far the flood extended from the normal waterways, as in creeks and streams, rivers, as well as lakes and reservoirs. So you'll see the difference in where water would normally be and how that flood expanded that water way beyond its normal course. So before we dive in, I'm going to quickly show you which layers I used. I've already taken you through the upload process in several videos before. If you haven't seen those, you're welcome to go to mapmavin.com and click on the support link, which will take you to a whole host of videos that can show you how to upload layers and many other things within Map Mavin. But right now, so this is basically the back end, if you will, of my map. And you'll see I have all these different layers that I've uploaded, as well as in some cases folders that I've used to organize some of those layers. Most of these are just standing loose because I know the context of them, but if I would have wanted to, I could have put them in a folder. And I've chosen which layers I wanted to use for this particular web map, and they're all here. Stacked from bottom to top, so this will be on the bottom, and that goes upward until Boulder Lakes and Reservoirs, which is on the very top. You'll notice that I have Boulder flood extent here in the middle because I want you to be able to see these creeks and lakes and other water features on top of the flood extent, which will make a little more sense in a moment. But since I don't really want to see the whole of Colorado, let alone the whole world, I'm going to click use for initial map extent. So now that layer will be the extent of the map when I come to it. So it'll zoom in to the extent of this flood layer rather than the entire world, which you would have happen if you just had just the base map as the default zoom extent. Now that I've done all that, I'm going to save it, and let's check it out. Okay, so here we are. You'll see quite a bit going on. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit here. And again, this is the city of Boulder. Each of these blue lines represents a water course, whether that be a full-blown river, such as Boulder Creek. I know we call it a creek, but it's teetering on the verge of being a river, or simply some canals that have been coursed through people's property over the last century, and anything in between. So down to the smallest stream or recourse, and all the way up to the biggest river in town, as well as I have a separate layer, Boulder Lakes and Reservoirs, which I can turn off and turn on if I'd like, as you can see, and that shows you all of the lakes and reservoirs in town. So what does this red represent? The red is publicly available data that I obtained from the city of Boulder. And I'll do that one more time, actually. You can see it covers the entire city. And it shows you how much farther out water extended than it normally would how far out from the banks of each of these water courses did water ultimately reach, and how high was it? Which might not make a ton of sense looking at it right away if you don't live in Boulder, but let's just go ahead and take a look at how far, in some cases, the water went beyond its normal course. So this is a part of North Boulder right here, and if I turn off the Boulder flood extent layer, you'll see that this little area around here, that red extent, is several blocks. So what would normally be a small creek flooded so much so that the water actually covered multiple blocks in this Tamarack and Sumac Avenue and Upland Avenue area, which is incredible. I mean, that alone right there, if you zoom in, is an entire school. And then you turn on the flood extent, that whole school was flooded, the entire campus. Likewise, if you go downtown, which had some of the worst flooding because most of the terrain in Boulder funnels into downtown, and the main waterway in Boulder, which is Boulder Creek, is centered or really runs through the center of town. So that's where all water is ultimately trying to get to. You'll see it was just a disaster. This is the downtown area. There is a fairly prominent creek that comes from up here in the area known as the Hill, where the University of Colorado is located. And then this is Boulder Creek coming down from the canyon. You'll see they converge right here, and naturally that led to an overflow. And if we take a look here, you'll see, similarly to that area North Boulder that I highlighted, that this is literally, gosh, I mean, what? Let's turn it off. 20 buildings across right there. And these are, in most cases, these aren't even homes. These are full-blown apartment complexes. So just to give you an idea of the scale of the flood, that is almost across a whole neighborhood. In some cases, it was 1 foot of water. In some cases, it was 12. So definitely a serious flood. But enough of the disaster talk. I really wanted to do that just to show you how easily you can take public data or your own data if you had created it and load it into a map and make meaning of the relationship between these multiple layers. And with Map Mavin, you can do this all online. You don't need expensive software. I downloaded this all from the City of Boulder website, and most decent-sized towns and certainly cities have open data available. And I'm able to load it in, and it took about 3 seconds to load this layer. And now I'm able to have a totally different understanding of the flood in the context of Boulder than I would have had simply reading about it. So that's one of the many ways that you could use Map Mavin to visualize spatial data. And I'm excited to show you more in our next month's edition. Thanks.